For 60 years, one name has pretty much been the definition of investing genius, Warren Buffett. But now, at one of the world's most iconic companies, a huge change is happening. So today, we're going to unpack the story of a leadership transition that's been decades in the making. Let's dive in.
And boom, this is the moment it all got very, very real. Warren Buffett announced he was planning to step down as CEO of Berkshire Hathaway at the end of 2025. After a whole lifetime in charge, the Oracle of Omaha was finally setting the date. He was passing the torch, kicking off the company's first leadership change in more than 50 years.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll talk about the legend stepping down. Then, we'll get into the playbook that built his entire empire. After that, we'll meet the successor, Abel. And finally, we'll look at what Berkshire's next chapter might hold.
So, to really get what a big deal this is, you have to appreciate the scale of this legacy. This isn't just some CEO swapping out. This is truly the end of an era in American business, an era that was pretty much defined by one single incredible person.
Just look at this timeline. It really says it all, doesn't it? Buffett starts with a failing textile mill back in 1965, and over the next 6 decades, turns it into a global powerhouse. But his impact, it went way beyond just business. He co-founded the Giving Pledge, totally reshaping modern philanthropy, before finally planning his move away from the CEO role.
And if you need just one number to really wrap your head around the value he created, this is it. 4.4 million%. That is the unbelievable return on a single share of Berkshire stock during his time. It's a number that's so big it almost doesn't seem real, and it perfectly captures the empire he built.
Okay, so how on earth did he do it? Well, to understand where Berkshire is going, we really have to get the philosophy that got it here in the first place. This is the Buffett playbook, and you'll see the core principles are actually surprisingly simple, but wow, are they powerful. And it all starts right here, with this idea he learned from his mentor, Benjamin Graham: value investing. The idea is so simple. You're not just buying a stock ticker, you're buying a piece of a real, actual business. So the goal is to figure out what that business is truly worth, its intrinsic value, and then you just have to buy it for less.
And this next idea really shows his incredible discipline, the circle of competence. Buffett famously stayed away from tech stocks for decades. Why? Not because he thought they were bad, but because he flat out admitted he didn't understand them. And that just goes to show you, knowing what you don't know is maybe one of the biggest advantages you can have.
This quote is so important because it shows how his thinking changed over time, thanks in a big way to his partner, the legendary Charlie Munger. They went from just buying cheap companies to focusing on truly high-quality, wonderful businesses that could grow and compound their value for years and years. That became their secret sauce.
So, the big question, who could possibly follow a legend like that? Seriously, the search for Buffett's successor was a huge topic of speculation for years. Well, now we know. Let's meet the man who was finally chosen.
Meet Abel, and he is no outsider. He's a Canadian accountant by training, and he has been inside the Berkshire system since 1992. Before this, he was running all of the company's massive non-insurance businesses. So what that tells you is he's a seasoned insider who knows this company inside and out.
So why him? Well, it seems to come down to 3 key things: a killer work ethic, really sharp strategic thinking, and maybe most important of all, a deep, deep commitment to protecting the special corporate culture that Buffett and Munger spent a lifetime building. For Berkshire, you see, culture isn't just some buzzword, it's everything.
And there it is, the ultimate seal of approval. When Charlie Munger, Buffett's brilliant and famously straight-talking partner, said this back in 2021, it pretty much sealed the deal. At the end of the day, the board's confidence wasn't just in Abel's business skills, but in his ability to be the guardian of Berkshire's culture.
All right, so let's turn to the future. What is a Berkshire Hathaway led by Abel actually going to look like? How will he handle the huge challenge of putting money to work for one of the biggest companies on the planet? First, let's just look at what he's inheriting. It's this massive, super concentrated portfolio of iconic American companies. Get this, almost 2/3 of its value is tied up in just 5 names. For Berkshire, these aren't just market bets. These are deep, long-term partnerships with businesses they know incredibly well.
So what's Abel's big new strategy? Well, if you look at his first shareholder letter, it looks incredibly familiar. Understand the business, partner with great people, grow value for the long haul, and buy back stock when it's cheap. The message here is crystal clear. This is pure Buffett. The playbook,
is not changing.
And this really helps clarify the new dynamic, right? Buffett stays on as chairman. He's the founder who set the philosophy. Abel is now president and CEO. He's the operator, the chief risk officer whose job is to uphold that philosophy and protect the culture. So while the titles are shifting, the core identity of Berkshire is absolutely designed to last.
And you know, there's another massive transition happening here too. Buffett has promised to give away basically his entire fortune. His kids are now responsible for distributing an estimated $150 billion, and they have one rule: spend it all within a decade. Just think about that. The scale is just mind-boggling. We're talking nearly double the annual output of the Gates Foundation. This will completely reshape the world of charity.
So we're going to end on this question. A huge part of Buffett's genius was his patience, his amazing ability to just sit on piles of cash and wait for that one perfect opportunity. But today, in a fast-paced world that demands constant action and instant results, the biggest challenge for his successor might just be convincing the market that sometimes the smartest thing you can possibly do is nothing at all.